Right. Hi, Shen Yi. Hi, Ameerul.
Yes. Hi.
So, I'm interesting. It's very interesting because I'm talking to two dietitians. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. So, it's, I don't know, the topic of having like a healthy diet, it's been on the rise these days, right? Everyone is trying to eat healthy, to exercise healthy, to live healthily, right? So I'm very, very glad to have you both here that where I can learn from about diets and healthy meals. Right.
Yeah.
Shenyi, Ameerul, can you tell me a little bit more about your background, like how you came, where you came from and how you got into this dietitian role?
Right. Yeah, but maybe we should just thank him for inviting us, It's been an honor as well to just share about us, because we've been doing podcasts as well, like been interviewing people, and now it's like we're being interviewed or having a conversation.
Likewise.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, dietitian is always underrated. It's not something that everybody will put it as part of their childhood dream.
True.
Yeah, honestly. And it was not something that I put as my first choice before as well. Asian, right? Always wanted to be a doctor, engineer, or like lawyer. Exactly. So yeah, eventually due to a lot of like factors and all, so I ended up be in this course. And yeah, we was graduated from UPM. Yeah, in 2020. Yeah. Do you want to say anything about your side as well? In terms of the background?
I mean, how do I get into studying dietetics? I think probably very similar with the background of Asian family and what, but during that time, my result doesn't allow me to go for doctor. But in fact, I never see myself as a doctor before, but there was always like a family perception. They said, okay, you study pretty well, why not you go for a doctor or lawyer? And due to my result, I would say that that's the first thing. And second things would be that I always looking forward to be a person or to be the career where I am actually helping people. It can be in so many different ways, but just came across when I was deciding which course to choose, right? And I feel interested with dietetics, and after my, like I go there and do some research and I feel like, okay, this is a job where people will listen to me on what to eat. Okay, that was before I get into the course. And after I get into the course, what makes it even more interesting or reality hits, people are taking care of healthy eating, but they might not necessarily to listen from a professional. They will just go for Google. They will just follow some, I wouldn't say it's not true, but not very reliable sources of information about healthy eating, about nutrition.
Okay. That's why we're here today. We're trying to like debunk all the myths,
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. MyFindiet. Can we talk about that one?
Oh, finally you are like among the first person who said the most right way, MyFindiet. Because every time people are like, oh, thank you, MyFindiet.
Oh yeah, I got it. I caught that one in a recent episode as well. Really, like someone mentioned MyFindiet.
Yeah. Exactly.
I caught that. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's with MyFindiet? How did it start?
So it's actually started during university, like our final year, and we were like doing this community as part of the internship. Yeah, so both of us were in the top management team, and then we were doing this what we call that the community project and everything. And after it ended, we thought of like there's something that we should do about it. And both of us, we've been working together since like university because we work in like a student organization, and our department is like we have to work together a lot.
Yes.
And we have a dream that time because we kind of like inspired by the people around where they've been saying that, like they built their own startup, stuff like that. And we kind of like have that kind of manifestation that time, like, hey, we should have a startup before like we graduate, Yeah. So that's where we started. And after we graduated, I think not even finished yet. I forgot already, like when we started MyFindiet.
Before we officially graduated, we already thought of to make it
as a startup. So that's where we started, and then we kind of like built a lot of like content creation and all, and then we did a lot of like pilot projects to do consultation, like finding the people around us so that we can build our client bases and everything. And fast forward, it's like 4 years now lah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. What sort of programs do you guys run?
We're actually running at the beginning stage. We create the content, and we do have our group coaching program, where during MCO time, a lot of everyone stay at home and then they want to take care of their diet. And yeah, we actually have this program. It's a group program where we just supervise the diet for everyone and we provide education and consultation.
What's the format like? Is this like online or like through a WhatsApp group chat, or how does this work?
We do it online. We do it online, and then we mainly communicate through WhatsApp.
Yeah. I see.
We did group as well. We did individual. We've tried like almost every way of doing it. Even like after COVID, we started doing physical as well. Because like during COVID, this online thingy, right? It's really booming. Yeah. It's like everybody is looking for it, right? But after COVID, nobody like really found it like very useful.
I see.
And that's where physical started to come in.
I see. And how is it doing now, the program? Like, is there like a lot of like, I don't know, how do people find it? How do people feel like they receive this thing? Is it like beneficial to them, or how do you think they feel about this whole thing?
I think based on the feedback and everything, because people who are actually looking for some expert to guide them in terms of how they should eat or even to somehow manage their medical condition, the feedback, they are giving a very high and positive feedback. But one thing that makes us a little bit special, because we have only 2% right now in the team.
Okay.
Right. And then we are not taking much client at the moment. And that's why we emphasize a lot on quality. And also the desire to change from our client.
I see.
So that's like, before you go into that, right? For the question, it's like, we have these stages of change where there's like contemplation, pre-contemplation, determination, action. So the way how we intervene our client is based on this like identification of which stages of change.
Okay.
So for example, like the client is not in the determination of action stage. So when we identify, we know this kind of client is not suitable for us to do coaching. Because no matter how much we try to say to them, hey, you should follow our like diet plan, but because they're not ready, so why should we actually give them that? So we focus more on like, let's say, giving classes.
I see.
Yeah, giving them education, awareness. So that's kind of like the base, or like how we actually do the coaching, to make sure that it is something that people are not just paying and then boop, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. Is it like an age range of these people that you find, or?
Quite variety,
it's quite wide.
It's quite wide, okay.
Yeah.
But how do people like feel about consulting two dietitians who are like fairly young?
Yeah.
Like, right? Like,
Good question.
or maybe inexperienced to them, maybe. Like, how do you find this? How do you solve this problem?
Okay.
I think in terms of, before you add on, before we talk about the, wait, I lose my word just now. Yeah, so basically, a lot of people will have the perception where, hey, you look young. Do you have enough experience or expertise to actually coach me? And actually, throughout our study, we have gone through what we call a 1 year of internship training, where we basically have the on-hands application and practical, I would say. And after that, even after we graduate, because we are doing it mainly as a part-time, where we still have our full-time job. Yes. So at the same time, when I'm going through my full-time job, I'm working in a hospital in clinical setting. So from that time, in a way, we're actually keeping track with what we need to know, with what is the development and everything. And I think the second part would more on, we'll be able to deliver what the client wants. That is something very important, I would say, because everyone will come to us with their own reason. Okay, some might be realistic, some might not be realistic, right? As our expertise and our experience, we actually let them know what you should expect, but rather than setting a sky-high goal. And that definitely is, it will end up where after the program, they won't feel satisfied.
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty much like like a gym personal trainer. Like people come to them for advice, for guidance, But there's one thing that I want to know, because for gym personal trainers, obviously they have the body to show the results.
Yeah.
But do you think your diet is
It's a lot more
healthy?
Like honestly, you mean the parameters of like measuring whether it's a success or not? It's a lot more.
I see.
Like it's beyond weight, like the body weight, but it can be like body fat percentage, It
Blood
can be
test.
like your blood test, your waist circumference, and stuff like that. And another thing that we focus a lot on that makes dietitian, nutritionist, and also like sort of like certified coach, different, is that we use this motivational interview approach. Yeah, it's one of the consultation or like counseling method.
Okay.
Yeah, they call it as motivational interview.
Okay.
So it's like maybe if you've seen any like psychologists before, it's kind of like a similar approach where you do not give them the solution, but you ask them the right questions for them to think about the possibility of the solutions.
Right.
Yeah. So that's like one of the effective way of doing coaching, where I would say and confidently say that why dietitians and nutritionists are more qualified to do all this coaching stuff, because we learn that, like we need to practice it with tons of like clients when we were doing internship. Yeah, and it was not easy.
What about your diet then? Is it that healthy?
This goes back to the definition of healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, the multiple definitions of healthy.
But maybe what do you think is the diet of a dietitian, for example, in your view?
I'll say it's okay. So let's go back to the definition of healthy in my view, right? Like being healthy, of course. First thing for a diet, you would have like a moderate protein. I mentioned protein because I'm like building my body right now. Carbs, I would say low carbs, maybe low fat as well. I'm not sure because like keto diet is like such a hot topic these days. So I'm not sure if a low fat diet or a high fat diet is more suitable for our body. And fiber, of course. Well, these are the macronutrients that I know, like roughly. I know I need to eat fruits. I need to take fruits for my bowel. And that's pretty much it. That's like the rough diet that I know. And I think like dietitians would follow this strictly.
I agree with the first part, follow this, but not strictly for me.
I think I just live with the concept of like you eat to live or you live to eat. Yeah.
Hold on. You eat to live and you live to eat.
Or you live to eat.
Okay.
Yeah. So to me, it's like I used to be someone who lived to eat. But after I learned a lot about all these things, I think I eat to live lah. Yeah. So it's like, I wouldn't say it's super strict, but I know, like when to stop. Yeah. If you want something, you can't like just suppress it and not eating it, right? Otherwise you will keep craving for it. So you still need to eat something. So does that mean your diet is not healthy just because you eat like ice cream, for example? If you consider ice cream not healthy, because to us, healthy has a lot of definitions, right?
Okay.
Me personally, when I talk about healthy, it's about BMV, like balance, moderation, and variety. So as long as like what you say just now, it's 100% correct.
Okay.
Macronutrients, fiber, all for your bowel movement.
Yeah.
But if you eat everything with like a very big portion, then I wouldn't say it's healthy.
True.
Yeah. So
I get it.
it depends on like how the dietitian itself sees, but I would say we are human too lah. So
okay. But the reason I said like all these protein, carbs and fiber and all these, like it's really like general and really from a high level perspective downwards. Because my dad has like diabetes, so we start to like recently take care of our own diet. We really look into like what we should eat, what we should not eat in the morning, at night, right? That's the whole idea. But when you say like ice cream, the hot pot, all these like spicy stuff, like things with, I don't know what's the right word for it. Things with extraordinary taste.
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe with higher fats, for example.
Yeah.
It's more oily.
Exactly. So we try to avoid that. And maybe that's why we classify that as healthy. As long as we don't cross that threshold that would take us to a diabetic level. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
would you agree?
I would agree with the words threshold that you are using because, well, certainly, I think this is what I heard a lot of times from my client as well. When they get to know that they have diabetes, for example, or even pre-diabetes, they will be so particular with sugar, or some even goes extra amount. They don't take rice because they deem that rice will cause blood sugar to spike and things. But as long as you know where's your threshold based on your own lifestyle, based on your own body condition, that includes all the parameter, blood tests, your body fat, and etc. You can still take carbohydrates or even maybe some sugary things in moderation within your own threshold.
I see.
Yeah.
So it comes down to like moderation, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can take it, but it's just in moderation.
In your that limits or that moderation, the definition of moderation as well should depends on your own body condition. Yeah. But in general, if we were to talk with a lot of people, there will be moderation. Yeah.
I see. I see.
And I think like something that is very important as well to highlight is that diet is always personalized.
Yeah.
Especially someone with non-communicable diseases like, diabetes, for example, right? It has to be really, really personalized because everybody has different weight, different family history, like age. So everybody has their own different needs, right? So that's why we can give like a general advice, but when it comes to like really, hey, how many that you should eat or drink this or take this rice, it has to be like based on your body weight, for example. So it's not something that we can like simply like give to everyone. So that's the special part of like having this dietitian to actually consult, because we do have this one therapy, we call it medical nutrition therapy, and it's only dietitian and nutrition is also, they learn a little bit about it as well if they take the extra courses.
Okay.
And this is like one of the interventions of the way how we actually treat the patient through the food. Yeah.
I see.
So it's a lot more actually. It's like
a lot more.
Not like simply say, hey, you cannot eat rice, you cannot drink sugary drinks. And you even have to understand that, example, for carbohydrate, we have like simple and complex carbohydrate. So maybe like for people with diabetes, they need to avoid simple carbohydrate, but they can still take complex carbohydrate, for example. Yeah. But how many amounts? So that's something that requires more explanation, calculation, honestly. Yeah, we need to calculate actually.
I see. Okay. Before we go into like the diets for diabetic patients, let's talk about keto diet. I think it's a hot topic these days. I've received like multiple comments from my friends and colleagues as well, whether they should follow a keto diet or not. So, do you think a keto diet is healthy?
Right. So, maybe we can talk a little bit about what is keto diet first.
Yes.
Right. So keto diet basically is a diet where, if we were to compare with what Ray you were saying just now, low carb, moderate protein, or low fat, right, and enough fiber. This is the four things that you mentioned about healthy eating. Keto diet certainly do not fit into that. Because keto diets, they feature extremely low carbohydrate. That means probably you are not taking any rice, any sugary drinks, or some more advanced people, or they practice it in more advanced, they would even take vegetables and also fruits. Okay. So and also how to compensate back the calorie, they take a lot of high fat food.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So from a big picture itself, our body, okay, how it works in natural, right? The body we will need carbohydrate. Okay, that is a number one source of our energy in our body, right? So, in terms of keto diet, they are actually playing with the distribution of every macronutrients.
Okay.
All right, and then where at the first place, keto diet is mainly designed for people for children with epilepsy. Yes. So, if you are asking me with children or someone with epilepsy, can they practice keto diet? And would that be helpful before we go into healthy? That would be a potential helpful effect over there. But in terms of healthy wise, understanding our body using carbohydrate as the number one source of energy, but right now we are cutting it off. We take extremely low carbohydrate and we replace it with high fat, right? That, in my definition, I wouldn't say it's a healthy way of diet. All right. And second things, when talk about keto diet as well, I think sustainability is another key of it. Yeah. Have you personally practiced keto diet?
No.
Or maybe your friends around, you see them practicing?
No, not really for me personally, but I've seen friends from other gyms, who practice like workouts. They would follow their other gym partners to follow this keto diet because I don't know. I think because when they heard the term that the keto diet can help them like lose weight, and it's like generally healthy in the eyes of many people, they would start following. So I am not sure whether this is the right thing or not, because I've got friends who ask me as well whether I should practice keto diet. Just let's say if it's not for like body weight loss, it's just for normal healthy living. Is that a good practice?
Long-term study-wise, so far there's no obvious beneficial when we compare keto diet with a normal healthy eating diet. I would say like this, because what we want, you mentioned one very important point that attracts a lot of people, losing weight.
Exactly.
Right. A lot of people, they want to lose weight right now, and when there's a way like keto diet or maybe some other intermittent fasting or different type of diet with a strict rules for them to follow, then they will tend to go for that because then they see that as a solution. As a, okay, just as simple as if let's say you're taking some pill compared with take a lot of food, probably you will go for pills because that's easier and you feel like they can solve your problem, right? But in long term, it actually makes no difference. Yeah, and by altering or changing your body, how your body works, you're changing the top source of carbohydrate, energy source to some other things. So I wouldn't say that is the most healthy way to go for, right? But keto diet, in my personal opinion, that can be one of the way for people who want to actually lose weight. Yes. Okay, that can be a way. But whether is it long term and how you do it, to what extent, that matters as well.
I see. Before, try not to knock the table because I'm afraid it will pick up the knock.
All right,
okay.
sure.
Sorry. Okay. Keto diet. So what happens to our body when we remove the primary source of energy, carbohydrates? What happens to our body then?
Okay. So your body wouldn't have enough carbohydrate, because they use carbohydrate, they convert it into glucose, all right, for our main source of energy. So when you don't have enough carbohydrate, your body will use the second source of energy. Okay, we stop the primary source, they will go for fats. All right. So your body will you actually somehow reprogram or you force your body to use fats as your first source because you didn't provide enough. So what happens when you break down the fats itself? It might cause some discomfort in your body and also some symptoms. For example, you might have smelly breath, and during the adaptation itself, you might feel very tired, very fatigued because you are changing the source of energy, right? Okay, but soon you will get adapted to it. Our body is very intelligent and very smart, so they will eventually change it to that. But the thing is, a lot of people that practice keto diet to lose weight, they feel very happy. They achieve their weight target. Then they feel like, okay, maybe it's time for me to get some rice back or get some carbohydrates back. That is a time where you see the rebound.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Because you know what? It's really absurd that I've heard friends of friends of friends who go to the gym, they practice keto diet, and they drink
protein shakes.
Oil.
You mean like what kind of oil do you know?
I think it's healthy oil. I'm not too sure what oil is that. I think it's maybe olive oil. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but it's really absurd to me. Like they drink oil. Like I don't know if that is healthy. Right. Okay, I get your point. Because like if your target is just to achieve weight loss, and then once you achieve that goal, your routine tends to come back to eating more carbs basically. Okay, I get it. What about like insulin level? How does it affect our insulin sensitivity?
You did a lot of study, yeah?
Yeah, I did. I for sure did.
Yes. In terms of insulin sensitivity, for the first stage, because when it comes to insulin, they basically use it to actually, digest or use the sugar in our body. Okay. When our sugar is high in our body, the insulin will actually be secreted to actually reduce it down. So when you don't provide that, the insulin sensitivity at the first place, right? They will be more sensitive because imagine you always take sugar, but all of a sudden you don't get enough sugar already. You'll be more craving for more.
Okay.
You'll be craving for more. All right. So basically that is how when people with diabetes, they might take keto diet as one of the way that can improve the insulin sensitivity over there. But again and again, unless put this caveat here, if you are going for a lifelong keto diet with the right way, I think that is up to the personal practice. But the main things that I always encounter, even with our client, it is not sustainable. They can do it for 3 months. The longest is like 1 year.
Okay.
Then they will relapse.
I see.
Yes.
And then the main reason for that is like not everyone is practicing keto diet?
It could be just because of the body craving for some certain food, for example, like rice.
Okay. So in essence, our body still need like main thing, the carbohydrates, protein, and then low fat.
And fat, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Talk to me about like LDL and HDL cholesterol.
Ooh.
How
Yeah.
how like a keto diet can help in that, because I know like LDL cholesterol is the bad cholesterol, right?
Yeah.
You try to reduce that one. So if does that mean like when we practice keto diet, we have to like only choose HDL cholesterol, fats with that certain type of cholesterol?
Yeah, so it depends what is the ideology of the type of keto diet that someone is practicing and where he get the source from. Because mainly, if we do talk about your friend or some practice that you see they're drinking the oil, maybe I give you some example of some of the people who are taking keto diet. They will eat the pork belly, for example. They will eat deep fried food, okay, like a lot, okay. So in terms of the type of oil used in, let's say, pork belly, it comes from animal fats, okay, and maybe deep fried that include the breading, include the skin and everything. It also consists very high in animal fats. So in fats, oh my god, I think this episode might be too technical, but I try to make it simple for everyone to understand. When it comes to fats, we have two types of fats. One, different types of fatty acid, basically. Some comes from animal sources, some comes from vegetable or plant-based, right? So animal sources, the fats that comes from animal sources, by far, that is one of the risk factor that cause our LDL to increase.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So the food that we take and how does it affect our body, our LDL, the bad cholesterol that people are saying, and to that as well, at higher LDL, when in someone's blood the LDL is higher, it increases the risk for coronary diseases or the heart attack or the stroke. Okay? Yeah, because it will increase the chances that your blood vessel will get blocked.
Yeah, thinning of them. Okay.
Right. Basically, the cavity, the place will be narrow because of the deposit of the fats.
Okay.
All right. So, and in a general recommendation, if you are taking plant-based oil, you should take within the recommendation as well. Okay. Even though you might hear some, like people say olive oil is good for your heart, right? They increase your HDL. Yes. That is the potential effect of olive oil or even some of the different oils that comes from vegetables. But if you are taking it in large amount, then technically it might not only helps with your HDL, the good cholesterol, but it also helps with another one.
I see.
Yeah. But if you're having this conversation with someone who is practicing keto diet for long, right? They might tell you, LDL is not my concern. I don't care about LDL. I see this client before.
Okay.
Right. So he came for a medical checkup, and then from the consultation, I get to know he is taking keto diet. And then I raised my concern with saying that you're having a pretty high level of LDL, which you want to actually adjust a bit. When they have the belief, I would say that their belief is that LDL, it doesn't matter for me. Right. So in that sense itself, in the main practice, if you look at most of the data, study evidence itself, so far there is no particular evidence for saying high LDL is nothing. It done nothing to your body.
Okay.
All the evidence still goes back to higher LDL, higher risk or chances for you to get coronary disease. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we control that? How do we control LDL to lower the level of LDLs in our body? Do we strictly go non-animal fats?
Yeah, there are some like interventions to that.
Okay.
This is more towards like lowering down those LDL and also cholesterol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some intervention to that. Like one of it, of course, low fat diet, and also we do recommend like functional foods. That contain beta-glucan, plant sterols, and all like the oats. Like if you've heard like people saying, "Hey, you should eat oat," it helps to reduce your cholesterol.
Yeah, I just had it this morning.
That's a good one, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. We've seen a lot of clients who follow that and they really reduce their cholesterol and they were very happy about it. And we're also happy about it because it does help. But the only condition is that you need to take it consistently, at least for like 1 or 2 months. Then only you can see the reduction.
Okay.
Yeah, but it really helped, like having this functional food. Other than that, high fiber, like taking fruits and vegetables also help. Soy products, I think. Yeah, one of it, soy products as well. Nuts and legumes, like instead of like taking snacking of like, I don't know, like chips, maybe you can take nuts, like all the almond or like whatever other nuts. It also can help to reduce that as well.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Are there different versions of keto diet?
It depends on until which extent where someone want to practice. Because they have I would say a lighter version of it. You might have heard it online or search it, right? They call it LCHF, low carbohydrate, high fat. So that is a time where they actually limit your carbohydrate, but not until the extent you totally don't take it. But people who are really practicing keto, like they are very obsessed and into it, they might not even taking, like what I shared with you just now, vegetables and also fruits. Because these two, they also have carbohydrates in it. They don't take it.
Yeah. And that's bad, right? That's totally bad.
I wouldn't recommend so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say like for a 9 to 5, for a person who works like a 9 to 5 job like me, it wouldn't be best for them to practice keto diet.
Depends on what you want.
Yeah, your goal as well.
It depends on your goal, right? And whether if you are doing it the right way. Okay, what do I mean by the right way? I guess that would be more towards whether if someone who have the experience managing keto diet or practicing keto diet, all right, the best if someone is actually coming from a healthcare professional background and they know how your body works. They can explain to you better. But if let's say you know it from, perhaps I will just give one example. You know it from your neighbor who might not coming from the background and who might not know, for example, the primary sources of energy in our body. Then he or she practice it, lose weight, very happy, share with you. Then you are looking forward to practice it in her way. How she practice, she share with you, then you will want to try it out. Though in long term, first you might not see result because everyone's body works differently. And second things, you might go too extreme.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure, going like to the extreme is not healthy.
Yeah.
Say, I go to the gym.
Right.
I try to build muscle.
Right.
Is this something I should practice, keto diet?
Okay, like when you take low carbs, right? How do you think about your energy levels?
I would try to burn my fat then. And then that's when my muscle gets like toned up and all. Is that...
Okay.
That to me, it's a good thing, no?
Alright. And in your situation, is only building muscles or you want to burn fat?
I believe we can do both.
Yeah, that's recomposition, right?
Okay.
And recomposition is the hardest, like one of the hardest, like what we call that, way of like really getting in that shape,
Okay.
Yeah, because you are trying to like lose your fat and then you're gonna like gain muscle at the same time. And that plays a lot with your like eating patterns and then your type of exercises as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we need to know like how's your eating pattern and like how's your exercises routine. Like, is it full of like just lifting weight every day and like run every day, or it's a mix of it? And how's the eating pattern? Is it like you really eat, I don't know, like 2 grams of per kg protein every day, or it's just only like, okay, I'm just gonna take this shake and then it's in the morning and then in the afternoon and maybe at night you didn't take anything, for example. Yeah. So maybe if you want to brief us, then maybe we can give a better insights. Yeah.
We can. Let's bring it forward. Like we can jump into my diet now.
Okay.
Sure.
So let's say I go to the gym. I want to build muscle. I want to get big, right? But I also want to practice like a healthy diet. So here's my routine. Here's my meal routine. So in the morning, I would take cereal, right, with protein shake, of course. I'll go to the gym in the morning. I go to the gym in the morning. So right after gym, I will take the protein shake. I will add it on with cereal, a bowl of cereal. So it's milk and nuts, almonds. Basically all this. I haven't really looked into like what's in that cereal, in that bowl of cereal, but it's basically, I'd say the normal things, right? In a bowl of cereal, right? The oats, almonds, nuts, and all these things. So that's for my breakfast. I used to not have these. I used to take bread, pastry. So I cut that off. Then lunch. So lunch for me at the office is a really typical mixed rice. Okay.
Cai fan.
Yeah, Cai fan, and that's I think where the most that's where I have the most carbs. I think right, chicken, rice, carbs as well.
How is the portion for your mixed rice usually?
Usually, I would have meat,
Right.
veggie, egg or tofu.
Okay.
So you have an extra protein like besides the egg.
Exactly. I usually go with the egg. I usually go with the egg.
Okay.
So it's meat, veggie, and egg.
Okay.
What about the rice just now? Like, do you think like how many scoops or that you
Oh,
think?
it's the normal packaging. How would you measure that?
That would be like one bowl, I think.
Okay, one bowl. Yeah, exactly. So that's for lunch. And that's all. And I can sustain until, let's say, 5 p.m. and then my stomach would start growling. Right. And then for dinner, it's an interesting one because I've heard I've heard of this saying like eat like a king for breakfast. And then I don't know what's the other one, but at least for dinner, you shouldn't eat too much, right? At least like for a few hours before you sleep, right? And I sleep pretty early, 10 something, because I go to the gym next day early in the morning. So for dinner, I would go with sometimes like fruits, like bananas, sometimes a glass of, it's not really cereal again, but it's a glass of oat.
Okay.
Yeah. And some really lightweight food. There's no starch in it. There's no...
Like what, for example?
Let's see. Sometimes it's salad.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a glass of oat, like I said. Sometimes it's fruit, just pure fruit. Papaya, banana, and all this. Yeah. So that's a typical day in my life for a meal, for
so
3
only
meals.
one time the protein shake.
Yes.
In the morning, right?
In the morning.
Yeah. How many gram do you know? Like how many
2
protein?
scoops. So I don't
You get
really
like
know.
how many gram protein you didn't check that?
I can't remember at the top of my head. Let me think. It's 22 grams.
Per scoop.
Yes.
So
Per
should you know
serving. So
40,
yeah,
44.
yeah,
44 gram.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And how about your exercises?
Right. So it's a mix of it, right? So sometimes it's shoulders and arms day. Sometimes it's a chest and back day. Sometimes it's legs and abs day.
Okay.
Right. So I try to practice that one. So a mix of it, and then cardio on legs and abs day.
Yeah.
So 2, 2, 2. So 1 day rest. Yeah.
1 day rest. And then what about the cardio?
Cardio I would do twice a week. So I would just run for 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Pace would be, no, not pace. Speed would be 9 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
Consistent.
Understand. For
Yeah.
12 minutes.
12 minutes.
Okay. All right. What about walking? Do you
Yeah.
track your daily steps as well?
No, actually, because I would say I walk a lot, especially if you're in Singapore.
Yeah.
I don't track it, but you know, when I go to the gym, I've seen like people walking on the treadmill, like for maybe not 4 hours, but it's way past 30 minutes. And I was wondering, like, does it really help? But anyway, I don't know. So I don't practice like walking on treadmills. I just run.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you track your body fat percentage?
No, I've never done that, but I would love to.
Yeah, and your muscle as well, like how much it grows, everything when you first started, and then now, like how does it grow, everything.
No, honestly, I've just only recently started this whole like
Gym.
being aware of it, but I've never really like done any measurements on my body.
How about body weight?
Body weight has been, I think, going up pretty healthily. It's been like 60, I think last year around this time, and then now it's 65.
65.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions that we might miss?
I think that would be pretty much. And how long have you changed?
Yeah.
In just now you mentioned about breakfast, right? Usually you take bread or pastry.
Yeah.
Since when you changed into the usual diet that you're eating
Okay.
right now?
It's been, I would say, 3 months. It's been 3 months.
Okay.
Ever since April.
Okay. So within these 3 months, do you see any changes, or like your body weight is it increasing or reducing, or how is it going?
I see it increasing, but in a good way. It's not like I see a lot of like fats in me. Like I don't feel bad. I don't feel ugly, you know, when I look in the mirror. At least I feel healthy. But sometimes I think the only problem for me is for dinner, I don't think it's enough. But then again, I can't eat too much because I know like calorie loss and calorie intake, that's when you lose fat. That's when you lose, that's when you lose fat. So yeah, I think that's the main concern.
I have one question. Like you don't take pre-snacks, right? because you said that after you had lunch and then you will like tahan until evening and then you start growling and then
Correct.
you don't take any pre-snacks, right?
No, I try not to.
Do you have any reasons why you don't take any pre-snacks before workout?
Before workout?
Yeah.
Before workout, because you usually do your workout in the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning. Oh, sorry. I misunderstood
So
that.
your cereal and also your protein shake will be before your workout or after your workout?
After.
Oh, okay. So before that workout, you don't take anything.
I don't
right?
take anything.
In that morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I think at a glance itself, first the concept of eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a, I don't know, whatever, then dinner you should be reducing. It actually goes back to the concept where if let's say you imagine your body as a machine working 24/7, right? But you are not giving it enough or equal portion of calories. Okay. So how would I say? So in terms of your body metabolism, it will change over time because they will capture the memory. Breakfast you will get a lot. Lunch you will get maybe a little bit lesser. And then your dinner you will get maybe just fruits, for example. Alright. So it might actually in long term changing your body metabolism. So which is important to track your body fat and also your muscle since you are currently working out, right? And second things, if at a glance when I estimate your calorie intake, your breakfast and lunch it is almost the same. But it's just your dinner you do that. It will be a very low calorie diet.
Correct.
Yeah. Maybe just that drinks or like fruits, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be enough for you.
Okay.
Yeah. In order for you to really build muscle, you need energy.
Correct.
You will need enough energy. And you mentioned about the calorie in, calorie out, the calorie deficit that we usually mention about. And calorie deficit will cause you to lose your weight. But it could lead to lose fat and also muscle and also body water.
Okay.
Yeah, because when we don't eat much, our body don't get enough fluid. Yeah, so from that perspective itself, you might not know what is the things that you're actually losing. Are you actually gaining your muscle?
Okay.
Or you're actually losing your fat? Are you actually losing your fat? Yeah.
So does that mean in that sense when I work out, when I want to try to get big, it's only between gaining muscle and fat or losing both?
You're right. Yeah. I mean, this is also a conversation that I have as well, like with personal trainer. You need to choose which one that you want.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's either you want like, if let's say you want to build more muscles, like how you're going to build muscles if you don't eat much, right? Or like you don't like get the nutrients. It's by eating. Okay. Yeah, but if let's say you feel like you want a recomposition, I feel looking you physically, I don't think you need that recomposition now because you are not like, having high fat, but you just want to build more muscle.
Yeah.
Then I think personally you need to take like high protein, low fat. You can try low fat by maybe controlling. You can still take chicken, right? But maybe just the way how you cook it, like the cooking method. That's also one of the way for you to control the fat. But the carbohydrate and protein you still need it because you're working out.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you can take that supplementation. It can be controversial, but if it's something that you are clear you want to take that supplementation for you to get more protein, you can take it as long as you prioritize the natural sources of protein first, like chicken, like egg, tofu. Then once that already, example, you take all this, it's around like maybe 80 gram, right? And then you need 100 gram of protein. Then you can top up with like that supplement. That's why it is called supplement, right? Protein supplement.
Okay.
Because it has to be like a supplement instead of like the main source of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then enough water, sleeping, and most importantly is actually tracking. This is something that people really underestimate about it, especially when it comes to your food intake. Your calorie, how much you take, and then your protein, how much you take. You need to track all those things. Then only you will start to see things from a bigger picture. Like when you have data, it's easy for you to analyze. Right. It's like to put it into that perspective. Yeah. So to us, it can be variety in terms of like how you want to do it. But at least in this current situation, based on what I personally analyze and based on what you said just now, you need to focus on just one thing. If let's say you want to do bulking, then you have to eat more.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you are afraid that you will increase more fat, it will increase. It will. But it is something that you can control it later afterwards. You get your goal.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So it's either okay.
Yeah, I feel like I can relate to you because I tried to do that, this recomposition. I was talking to my personal trainer in the gym, and I said to him when I first met, hey bro, I really want to lose my fat. I cannot tahan already my belly fat, you know.
Right.
It's so hard to lose all these love handles and everything.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, I want to lose fat, but also I want to build muscle. And then when we started working out and everything, right, I was doing cardio a lot as well. I was running a lot as well. And then when we started working out, he started to train me, and he said to me, Ameerul, you cannot run anymore. I don't want you to run.
Okay.
Because he wants me to focus more on
Building
the muscle, like the muscle strength.
Okay.
And do the progressive loading. I think you know this term, right? And then this cardio, you can just do it like once a week or something like that. Yeah, that's what he advised to me, because he don't believe that, you know, it is something that you can do at the same time.
Okay.
I personally believe that it is something that can happen, but it will take the longest time.
Yeah.
Right.
The longest time. Yeah. So you choose which one. Like example, I have a lot of fats. I want to reduce fat first, but I will lose muscle. Or I want to like eat a lot. I will gain fat. But also at the same time, I gain muscle. When I reach that stage, then I do cutting. Yeah. So you need to like really clear with like what you want and your goal. Then I think it will lead you into the right path lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's delicate lah, honestly. I mean, yeah, sorry. It's like too many information sometimes, you know. Like like maybe this dietitian said differently. You talk to personal trainer, you should do keto lah. It's easy ma, you know. You need to follow this stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, and then you can consult like people around you that knows about this. And yeah, that's how much about it.
Okay. Okay. You mentioned about tracking.
Yeah.
How should one track? How should I track?
You mean in terms of
in terms of like my meals and my maybe my body composition? It's down to some machines or something.
Yeah.
But let's say my meals. How can one track?
Alright, it's very easy nowadays because I actually used to work with like a digital health company. I don't want to promote them, but they have this calorie tracking, and you can actually see all this protein, fat. It's not 100% accurate,
Okay.
but at least it gives you an idea like where is it you right now. Yeah, so this is the commitment law that you need to do if let's
I
say
see.
you really want to track, but there is a lot, not only one. There are so many apps that actually help you to track your calorie. Yeah, even like nowadays they have this. You just take the photo and you just send to your like personal coach or like dietitian, and then they will actually like calculate for you something like that.
Ah, right. Okay, I see. Interesting.
Yep.
So it's down to between bulking and cutting, or basically both. You know, one of them. Okay.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I learned. I'm sorry to talk a lot about this. I feel like I've been struggling a lot as well in terms of this whole, you know, like be healthy and want to get fit, you know, stuff like that. It's also because of the environment, you know, because nowadays we watch Netflix, we watch movie, and then we watch people around us, especially living in the city, you know, like everybody's trying to be healthy. Come back afterward also, I need to go to gym, you know, like with that outfit and then still like bring the gym bag and everything. I've seen that before, you know, and I feel like the needs of doing it. But I feel like when I think too much about it and try to compare myself into that, it's so hard for me to get into that. Yeah, it's like, I feel like it's not sustainable. But when I started to think more about, okay, I eat because I want to actually live healthily, right? I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Then I think it makes more sustainable to my body. So I'm not so afraid of like, oh, what if this is not working? What if this is working and stuff like that? But I focus more on like, okay, if this is something that makes me feel full, and if this is something that makes me feel like, okay, I need to take this because it helps me to work out better. That's why I was asking you about the pre-workout snack, because to me, I've tried the differences.
Okay.
Even I've tried to take creatine before. Creatine makes me fat, bro. Like because it retain the water, you know. So when I take, it helps me with some good time at the gym. But you know, when I take that, right, it really makes me bloated.
Okay.
Yeah. So I stopped taking it, right. But then when I changed the whole diet into more natural and started to take, like, example, the pre-snacking that I had before, this is before. Now I cannot, not that consistent anymore. Like, I took like Greek yogurt and I put some berries or like some fruits and also nuts.
Yeah.
I perform really well in the gym. Like just 1 hour or 2 hours before. Yeah. But does that mean I'm taking too much calories? No, because it's like the Greek yogurt low in fat.
Yeah.
You know, and then I take the nuts, it's a good fat source, and then I still get some carbs from it. I get a lot of protein from it. So at the end of the day, it benefits my body. So I feel like it's more sustainable, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's come back to my meal routine just now. Let's say I want to keep my body shape at the current shape that I have right now.
Okay.
Which means I'm satisfied with what I have right now.
Okay.
What's one thing that I can change with my meals to eat more healthily? Is there something?
Yeah, your opinion first.
I think you need to understand or calculate how much protein that you're actually taking right now, because by maintaining your body right now, especially we talk about maintaining the muscle, you need to get, of course, exercise wise, I assume you're going to maintain the same, but for you to preserve it, first thing first, your protein, you need to make sure you're taking it enough. Yeah, that requires a more detailed calculation, of course, including your 1 scoop of protein powder, how much is the protein, right? And also how much protein you take during your lunch, and sometimes maybe dinner, or maybe you just take fruits. I would say that will be the things that you need to make sure you get enough, all right, on top of other things, yeah, to maintain your current physique right now.
I see.
I think to add on that, I personally will just suggest you to take pre-workout snacks. Yeah, because it's all about the quality of your workout that also helps you to build more muscles lah. Yeah.
That's valid as well.
True. I'm surprised though. None of you talked about my dinner, so my dinner is okay. Like, it's not a full meal though. It's only like fruits and I don't know. It's not even like a full meal. That's okay.
I would say if your current goal is just to maintain what you have, and you have been practicing for some time, right? As long as that's why the first recommendation, make sure you get enough protein. Then maybe second and third, I will go further into arranging everything. Because for me, that will be much more important for you to maintain your current things. What will happen if I only focus on your dinner? You might gain weight because you are increasing your calorie intake. Then at the same time, you need to somehow balance it back by adjusting your exercise as well. So by maintaining every single thing, one thing is to focus on your diet. That's why I would say just focus on that. Yeah.
Interesting.
I can give a list as well on what will need to be done. But just mention the most important thing in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Really interesting.
And you can see as well, different dietitians, they have different
Opinions,
it. Yeah. But all these opinions, they're actually revolving from, we know how your body works. We have a rough picture on what is your what we call that, how is your lifestyle and etc. Only we can come up with that. It wouldn't be simply, okay, you are building body, you need to do what, without understanding as well.
Right. Right.
And also it's related to experiences as well, because like sometimes when we read like some study or like some research or things about this nutrition, but actually in real life it's not as easy for you to like practice that, for example, right? So that's something that's why I shared about the personal trainer, because we can't simply say, because they are not dietitian that they're not right. Yeah, because they built their body and apparently he's more fit than me.
Right, that's results.
Exactly. There's a result show, and if it's something that results show and that what makes you as a client feels happy because your body will be like him, then why can't we follow him? For example, right? But then that's why we need to understand what he's doing. If let's say it's something that against maybe he takes too much of like supplementation, then that's the part where we tell, actually for you, maybe you shouldn't follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Because previously when I was, I follow a different routine, a different workout routine, which is more cardio based. I would run on every single workout. So, and during that time I was like hitting the gym like 3 to 4 times a week. So, which means like 12 minutes every time. So 4 times in a week. And that would cause like systemic fatigue. And that is not, at least to me, I've noticed the change recently that I don't feel tired anymore. Like I think it's a good change. Yeah, so I want to top that up on my meal, like what I should eat, what I should take in, that should better feed my machine, my body.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What about fasting? What about fasting? I think it's, I don't know. I've listened to podcasts, I've watched YouTube videos which talk about like how good fasting is. Like a lot of the experts stress on fasting. Like it gives, you're basically not taking in food, you're basically not taking in nutrients or basically any sort of calorie. And that seems to be healthy for your body. according to those experts.
Did they tell like in how long period and stuff like that, or it's just like Ramadan fasting, or like it's like intermittent fasting?
Yeah, intermittent fasting. So as far as I know, it's probably like 8 hours of eating, that window, that period, and then 16 hours of fasting. So does that help in weight loss? Probably, but definitely not in my case.
It does actually. It helps in weight loss. 100% because it's calorie deficit. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a calorie deficit. The idea of it is to reduce or not to take breakfast, right? Because they're gonna like probably start fasting at 8 and they eat the next day at 12. So they only eat like 12 to 8. So technically they just have lunch and dinner and they kind of like skip breakfast, and that's already calorie deficit. If and only if they actually follow that practice. Because some people, they have this misconception, 12 to 8, I can eat everything. Yeah, that's where they basically eat more than what they should eat. Yeah, and talking about intermittent fasting, there's also another one that you might have not heard before, OMAD diet.
No, what's that?
1 meal a day diet. It's also a form of fasting. I've heard this man a lot, like talking to clients, right? Oh, I've done this OMAD, like I lose a lot of weight, but then after like 2 weeks, I cannot do it already. I feel like very tired, very fatigued, and then I start to eat a lot and my weight like double.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are all fat diet, and it's all actually, eventually, it's actually a calorie deficit. It's just that the way how people do it and how people practice it, because a lot of like, what we call that, like belief and understanding towards this intermittent fasting. And at the end of the day, it goes back into the calories. Yeah, but if your question is whether it helps to lose weight, yes, it will help.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my case, it's I'm not aiming for losing weight, so it's definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay. Intermittent fasting.
And there are, I believe if let's say you're listening to podcasts, there are experts or some people from health science background, they were saying, okay, it helps with maybe boosting up your immune system. It basically helps with probably improve a little bit in terms of your insulin sensitivity. That is the primary, I would say, short-term result that throughout the study, they see this effect. Okay, I wouldn't deny the beneficial things over there, but when it comes back to reality itself, it really depends on how are you going to do it, and is that sustainable for you? That one of the aspects that a lot of people always didn't focus on is, do they really suitable? For example, people with gastric or people do without gastric, they try intermittent fasting, they got gastric. Right. So it actually, intermittent fasting, it would be like a way. There's a way of diet for you to try to do it, to practice it. As long as you do it the right way and you know what you are doing it for.
But to be fair, I used to be that kind of dietitian where, like when I heard about intermittent fasting or this kind of like keto, right? No, you cannot do it. But after you really like try it yourself, per se, and also like seeing clients doing it, right? Then you started to be more human about it, trying to understand more about it. But I mean, just to not make it very complicated, it's all about like what's your goal, like what you really want. In your situation, definitely you don't need this.
So the goal precedes everything. But what about like, what's the ideal duration for fasting, for intermittent fasting?
It varies though. It's very hard to determine. It varies.
It varies,
but
you cannot.
The common one is that 12.
Okay.
Yeah, the 12-8, I think. Yeah, the
168.
You mean 16-8?
Yeah, 16-8.
16-8.
That is the most common one. There are people who is doing fasting for longer or fasting for shorter. But again, as what Ameerul was saying just now, the main idea of it, they shorten down the interval of you eating and hoping you to achieve calorie deficit by you knowing that maybe you skip breakfast or you skip dinner or you only focus on 2 main meal. That should be able to achieve your weight loss, for example, or calorie deficit. So it really depends on which perspective that you are looking at this intermittent fasting. For me personally, intermittent fasting can be one of the weapons, one of the way for you to lose weight. For someone who perhaps really struggle with it, that can be one of the way. Provided I guide, as a dietitian, we guide the client properly, then we can see the result. But of course, for the client to actually come back from intermittent fasting, that requires a adaptation phase as well. It's not simply you come back,
Exactly.
then the rebound possibility is very, very high.
what happens to our body when we fast?
When your body is fast, that means you don't have enough energy. Like you didn't feed your body with an energy. And your cell will automatically, based on the research itself, it helps to boost one of the components in our immune system called macrophage, if I'm not mistaken, that helps to boost up the immune system to a certain extent. But I wouldn't say that is like significant to when you do when you do fasting, then you will get stronger and things like that. Not until that extent. Yeah. And doing fasting is also something that trains your mind as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to you know you have to limit self-discipline as well. You have to follow this, right? That is the secondary effect in terms of your mental.
Does it harm your body if you don't do this like consistently? Let's say you practice intermittent fasting for 3 months, and then the fourth one you come back to like eating every single meal every 4 hours, let's say. Does that harm your body?
To me, like in terms of metabolism, it's definitely gonna affect. Yeah, so it's something that can harm your body as well if you keep changing it, right? Is that what you
right?
Yeah.
Because like I've listened like to all these people around me who practice keto diet, intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure how long they can sustain for. You know, like I'm pretty sure like maybe next year February they're gonna like eat every 4 hours and
probably. Yeah.
So what's the harm to their body? So I was like thinking of these things. Okay.
Yeah, because our body is like very smart. They will adapt to how you feed your body. This machine is very, very smart. So that happens when, if let's say you change your eating pattern, you go for keto, you go for IF, intermittent fasting, your body will adapt to it by time. Okay, so after you reintroduce back, if you eat every 4 hours, your body there will be like a adaptation phase. Yeah. You might see that suddenly your weight increase back again. Yeah, that is one of the most common feedback that we get. But if you do it right, alright, and after you go back to eat every 4 hours, but you still make sure you are eating balanced, moderate, and also different type of food, variety, then it should be okay for you to pass through it. But there will definitely be an adaptation phase that your body is going through.
Right.
Yeah.
But only not physically, but also mentally, you know. Like when you keep changing things and then your motivations keeps going up and down, and then you go through that relapse process and then going to the same thing. Yeah, so that's a normal thing that we've seen as well.
True. Well, in your opinion, who should and shouldn't practice intermittent fasting?
There's some research about that, diabetic and intermittent fasting, if I'm not mistaken.
Long-term wise,
is still not that good.
Not that significant in terms of the reading.
Yeah, not that significant.
Yes. Right. So, who shouldn't do intermittent fasting? Right. First, if let's say you do not know why you are doing intermittent fasting, right? Maybe you just do it because you try to follow someone. Second things is let's say you have gastric problem. Third things, it depends on your lifestyle as well. It depends on your lifestyle because some of our client as well, their working time and their day and night, some of them working for customer service, right? So they have shift. So in order for you to stay awake, for example, at night, right, you have to fuel yourself a little bit because your body is working. So if let's say your lifestyle, I would say your lifestyle, it depends on your lifestyle as well, right? If your lifestyle cannot really make you go through intermittent fasting, then probably that intermittent fasting is not for you. But of course, some other people, for example, pregnancy,
pregnant moms,
pregnancy and everything, there will be special precaution group. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So even okay, got it. I think it depends on your goal, right? Whether you wanna lose weight or not. Well, practically, if you are going for intermittent fasting, you're basically aiming for losing weight.
Yes.
Most of the people.
Mostly.
Okay. So people like me who go to the gym, it's not advisable to do intermittent fasting and still maintain the physique.
Personally speaking, I feel like you just need to eat as usual. Yeah.
Okay.
Personally speaking,
And you're trying to go for bulking.
You
need more energy.
Right.
And it will be even harder for you to get that amount of energy in just 8 hours of eating frame, the time frame itself. imagine you have to take 3 meals within 8 hours. You might not even feel hungry, then you need to take something already.
Yeah.
Right. The 8-hour period, does it mean we can get anything we want?
Still within the recommended range of like calories that you need.
Okay.
Example, like the calorie deficit that you need is, your usual is 2,000, then maybe you need to take just 1,005, right? Then you probably need to meet that requirement just within that requirement. But also there is need to be some spaces between like meals. You can't like dump all that 1,500 just for lunch. That doesn't make sense as well, you know.
Why not?
Yeah, because it's like your body still need that adaptation to a certain food, and I'm not sure if you can eat that 1,500 like within just 1 meal.
And as well, our body, they have a specific size. Our stomach, for example, if let's say you just try to fit everything into 1 meal of your daily calorie requirement, your stomach is going to have a big burden because you're eating a lot of food over there, right? In long term itself, you keep practicing it, you might achieve to a certain extent, you lose your weight, but in terms of the burden to your stomach as well,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's already like a preset framework that we should follow already, right? Which is, like you said, the BMV. And then only we do intermittent fasting, where in the 8-hour period, we should still maintain that framework and have, let's say, 2 meals, maybe maximum.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
But what about the calorie deficit that we're talking about, right? Let's say if you require 2,000 a day and then you are doing 1,500, and you are at a 500 deficit. How do you know what's the impact to your body? Or how do dietitians measure this or track this over time? Like, do you go like every 500 every week? Or what's the ideal practice?
The ideal practice.
Yeah, let's say for a person who wants weight loss.
Yeah. So if let's say someone, because just now the example that you're giving is 500 calorie of deficit, that means you eat less, 500 calorie lesser. How we will usually monitor? Definitely, first thing first is from your body weight. Yeah. So for a person who never really take care of this, when they just started on this calorie deficit, we should experience within 6 months itself, the body weight should be reducing bit by bit within 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
All right. We didn't build our body in 1 month or even in a short period of time. So when you trying to reduce your fat or control by your diet, it usually range between 3 to 6 months before we go on further to maybe increase back or reduce further.
I see.
Yeah.
And the toughest thing about like doing this intermittent fasting for that 3 to 6 months is just our self-discipline, I would say, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also whether you are doing it right, and do you able to switch into the time frame? Where you imagine if let's say you are not taking dinner and your friend is actually asking you out.
Right.
So how are you going to deal with it? I said, okay, I'm having IF, so I'm not taking anything. There are people who are taking so. There are people who are doing so, but it really depends. Not everyone can do so.
Yeah, exactly. Because even for keto diet, people would skip, get together meals just to continue with their keto diet.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can we go back to diabetic patients?
Right.
What they can eat and what they cannot eat.
What they can eat and what they cannot eat.
This question, right? I don't know. Honestly, when I hear this question, I do not know where to start.
Okay.
Because diabetes, we can categorize diabetes into different categories as well, right?
Like type 1 and type 2?
It can be type 1 and type 2. That is the different types of disease. But diabetes, let's say if you are pre-diabetes, when you are just newly diagnosed, or maybe you already diagnosed for some time, you're already on medication, but you don't really taking care. So it goes until a situation, we call it uncontrolled diabetes, right? So these 3 different stages or phase of diabetes, they have different advice.
Let's start with like pre-diabetic.
But another disclaimer as well, there's no good food or bad food, and there's no any food that you cannot take.
Oh, okay.
there's no specific food that you cannot take. For example, if let's say I were to ask you, can a diabetes, not ask you like in terms of your understanding, if let's say I am a diabetes patient today and I am taking durian, right now it's durian season.
Okay.
So can I actually do so in your perspective?
No.
Right. That is
Yes.
that is a very common perception where
Yeah.
you're diabetes, you cannot drink sweet drinks, you
For
cannot take durian, and there are some different fruits that may be higher in sugar that you cannot take. Or some people just cut it off everything. Right. So what they can eat and what they cannot eat. Right. For pre-diabetes, it actually really depends on their situation and their lifestyle. I would say in a general recommendation lah, because what I'm giving here right now doesn't base on any factor of your lifestyle, your eating pattern and everything. So there will be something very, very general.
Okay.
Right, for pre-diabetes, first thing first, you need to mainly reduce down or control your carbohydrate intake.
Okay. Carbohydrate.
Right, and specifically in terms of the sugary drinks, if you can reduce, okay, I wouldn't say cannot, but you can reduce into once a week, that will be better.
Okay.
So for people who are having at this stage, based on the experience with client as well, they will always have coffee 3-in-1
Right.
every single day. Yeah, and in long term, that could possibly lead them into that stage. Right. So in terms of sugary stuff, they need to actually reduce and start to incorporate more fibers from fruits and vegetables in their diet. Okay, that is for maybe someone who is just pre-diabetes.
Sure. Pre-diabetic.
Right.
So, because the reason I ask this is because, we always have a way of measuring how serious it is.
Yep.
Right? The blood sugar level.
Yes.
Right? I tried measuring mine, that day it's pre-meal, so it's 5 point something. I think after it was 7 something. I think it's been 7 or 6 point something. Okay. So the way I know it is between 7 to 11, it's pre-diabetic.
After meal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the one. So that's the reason I asked, like, what kind of food can we not eat if we are pre-diabetic? Because we have this way of measuring. So let's say if after we eat, we take in certain type of food, like you said, durian, and then 2 hours later, our sugar level goes up.
Yeah.
So that's a bad sign, I would say, right?
That means your body cannot really reduce
Reduce it.
down the sugar.
Yeah. So that's when I know I won't take durian the next day.
This is the interesting part about nutrition, There's no one thing that causes everything. There's no like one. I wouldn't say that is the reason. Sometimes we look into portion as well. Can you still enjoy durian, for example, since we mentioned about it, right? After you take 2 pieces of it and then you notice that your blood sugar still remain high after 2 hours, then you can start with 1 first.
I see.
Right. Yeah. So that is one of the way that you can actually play around with it, but not totally cut it off. Yeah.
Interesting.
But isn't it a good thing if you cut it off? Like just to devil advocate it,
If let's say you feel like it's okay for you to cut it off, you are a durian lover, for example. Like me, I love to eat durian. So if let's say you are okay to actually not taking it, then that's fine as well. Yeah, I am coming from a perspective where I do not want someone to totally cut off something, because that creates more fear, as in, I don't take this,
Right.
I don't take that. That is just fear that is circulating around with among people with diabetes. But on another context, if let's say you feel like it's okay for me to take away from durian, don't take durian, and also you get to know what other fruits that you can take, or what are the other options that what are the other food that you can take to make sure you are still control your blood sugar level, you can go with it. Sometimes people don't take durian, they go for another things. They go for grapes, they go for watermelon, for example. The dietitian or I read online cannot eat durian, I don't eat long. I read online, I can take watermelon, for example,
Right.
go for that. That ended up, it is still high.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
like you said, pre-diabetic patients, they have to like experience or experiment with themselves, right? For everything they eat. And then they'll measure again and then see, okay, so durian, I ate 2 pieces and it's going this high. And then, okay, let's try 1 piece this time. And then maybe it's going to go down. So with this method, it's a lot of experimenting. So with a lot of experimenting, is there like a way where once we cross the threshold, then we will not get back to the normal sugar level? And then it's already type 2.
What do you mean by threshold? Like,
right, like if you continue experimenting, sometimes you can control, sometimes you can't control your sugar level. And then what happens if one day you overshoot too much and you can't get back to a normal level or like pre-diabetic level?
Oh,
I actually didn't get your question. Sorry.
I think he was just trying to say that, like, what if he control it, but then at the end, if he tried to control too much and then he still get like into that diabetic level, and is it something that reversible or irreversible? Is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly.
Like, is it something that we can go back into the pre-diabetic bag? Or is it something that once they got into like diabetic, then it's like not reversible anymore?
And you have to depend on
medication?
Medicine,
we usually wouldn't say it's like something that is treatable, but we say it's something that we can control.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to like cholesterol or like diabetic or hypertension, we wouldn't like tell the patient or the client like, hey, it's gonna go away, like diabetic, you're gonna go away. But we will say actually you can control it. Yeah, so if let's say you get into the point where it's from pre-diabetic and you got diabetic say, right, you got that type 2 diabetic, then usually the first thing first, right, the doctor, they won't start with medication one. They will ask you to go for lifestyle modification first.
Right.
Yeah, that's where they refer you to dietitian in hospital for you to try to change your lifestyle. And after you change your lifestyle, still no change, then only they start with like maybe small dose of like medication. But you still need to take care of your diet. Yeah, that's where like how it goes on. Like, it's something that we can control, but we wouldn't like tell you now like, oh, it's reversible.
Yeah, exactly that reason, because it's lifestyle modification, which means that your current lifestyle has some problems in your meal routines, in whatever you take in, and that's why you have to modify it. So and the reason I ask this is, which means your previous lifestyle or your current lifestyle is not sustainable anymore. You can't take in any food that you've been taking this so far.
Okay.
You have to change something, right?
All right.
Exactly. So and you said we can take in any food that we want. Actually, it's just maybe in lower amount, or and that way we have to experiment ourselves, right?
But shouldn't we factor in like genetics, age into that as well? Because let's say you try to control, but in your genetics you have that diabetic gene, right? Then you will still get it.
I would say higher, you will have higher risk to get into type 2 diabetes in future. But is that unavoidable? It is. I wouldn't. If let's say you are taking care of your diet right from now on, they actually reduce the risk for you to get into that, even though you have the genetic family background. Because I also have a family background of type 2 diabetes as well. But it all depends on how you control your diet.
Okay.
When did you start to control your diet? That matters as well. If you only started to do it when you are being diagnosed, or you have all the symptoms already, then that might be too late for you. But recently, right, since we talk about reverse diabetes as well, this is something pretty new in the field as well. They talk about to reverse the diabetes, but it needs to fulfill a few criteria. Which basically, in terms of your blood test report, not from your skin prick, but it will go with your
normal
blood taking, with one of the parameter that remain consistently within the normal range for I think 3 to 4 times, which is only at least for 1 year. So that means through blood taking, through the monitoring, everything is controlling well, and your year of diagnosis of diabetes should be less than, if I'm not remember wrongly, it should be less than 5 years. So those newly diagnosed have the way of, in a way we say it reverse, but just to get everything in control, so that you do need to move into the next phase of taking pills, or even further go for insulin injection.
Insulin injection.
That is another story as well.
Do you know of any side effects if we take pills?
You mean
Diabetic
like
pills,
the
yeah.
metformin, those things. That,
Correct, metformin and
Are you taking it, or you mean you know it because of
Family
your parents?
member.
Understand? I'm not particularly sure about that.
Part of the reason, okay, talking about drugs, right? Every drugs they have possibility have some side effect,
Yeah.
right? Every single drug, because the main concept is they make sure the benefits is higher than the harm. Okay, so in terms of possible side effect, some people when they take metformin, for example, right, they might experience weight gain.
okay.
Okay, some they even if let's say those very adverse one, they might see some like nausea or diarrhea.
Wait, really, weight gain? Because I read it's weight loss because of nausea and you don't take in much food then.
Yeah, that's because of the nausea. You do take much food, you
Yeah.
can cause weight loss. Wait. Oh yeah, it's actually weight loss.
Okay.
Correct. Not weight gain, weight loss.
Okay. Okay.
That's why in the practice itself, some people who have diabetes or some other people who need metformin, right, not only for diabetes, doctor will use it as one of the way to actually control your body weight as well.
Yeah.
But that will sustain for just short period of time. It won't be like long period of time for you to have the weight loss.
Oh, so you mean the medication is only for a short period of time?
Like
the
the
side
for-
effect.
yeah, the side
The side
Oh,
effect.
okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So are you saying or are you advocating against all these products or food in the market that are labeled, this is for diabetic patients? You know?
What do you mean by against?
Against as
Like-
in we don't need to go for that type of products. We can eat whatever we want now. It's just in lower amount and we just need to control that.
I think first thing first before you go,
Yeah.
they can't claim that.
Okay.
That is not something that the KKM will allow like certain product to claim that it's for like to cure diabetic, for example.
Not to cure, but let's say it's lower level of glucose or sugar, I don't know.
We will see the content first, of course. Yeah, what's inside it. Yeah, what's the like nutrition, what's the carbs.
Okay.
Yeah, but I personally won't directly like what we call that like decline or reject it or block it. Yeah.
But there's no need to go for those. Can we say that?
In diabetic management, right? We call it medical nutritional therapy as what we mentioned earlier. There's like this basic concept where we will definitely just go for this first as the first line of like our intervention is that we follow the three J's in Malay lah, which is like the type, jenis, and then time, which is masa lah, like jam, which is like like how much is the spaces that you take in between meals, and also another one is jenis, jam, and also jadual.
Jadwal.
Yes, jenis, jam. No, jadual, jenis, and also. Wait, I forgot.
Yeah. I also kind of recall.
We suddenly forgot. Okay, but there's like 3J.
Okay.
Yeah, wait, this one you need to cut again.
Okay. Sure.
Wait. They got jenis, which is like complex and Jumlah, exactly.
Jumlah, okay.
We get yeah. So in this like medical nutrition therapy, they have like a very first line of like intervention when we consult the client is that we will look more into like the 3J. It's in Malay lah. But if we translate it, it's like jenis, which is a type, and then the jumlah,
Amount.
how much the amount, and also the jadual, which is like the time of they take, because people with diabetic they cannot skip meals.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
they should not skip meals. Yeah,
Why?
especially if they are taking insulin. Yeah,
Okay.
there's an effect to their blood sugar level.
What effects?
Right. So when you're talking about people is taking insulin injection, what is the function of insulin that we inject, right? They're actually to bring down the sugar that comes from the food that we eat. For example, someone is taking insulin, usually they need to take, it depends on the prescription from doctor. Just let's say they are taking 3 times per day, right? So maybe they skip meals, they don't take lunch. They don't take lunch, but they still inject the insulin. The insulin, when it comes to our body, they need to do their work to bring down the sugar, right? So without the food as without the resources of sugar that comes from food, they just inject, that will actually might lead them into having hypoglycemia. That is a condition where your blood sugar is very low.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, and you probably will faint because of it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it can be fatal as well. Yeah.
Got it.
It's not treated fast, right?
Yeah, if this is not treated fast, there can be a very dangerous issue.
Consequences, yeah.
Consequences.
So let's say with experimentation, let's say three meals a day, and I measure my blood sugar level, it's 11, let's say, and then I try to cut down one meal. That is still possible, right?
If let's say you are not taking medication, all right, let's say you are at the stage of lifestyle modification, and then you want to experiment with maybe just cut down one meal, but also depends on the another 2 meals, how much you're actually taking.
Yeah. Let's say it's the normal one.
Just a normal one. I believe there will be a beneficial effect over there. Yeah. But the next question will be, if that is the way you want to go for the rest of your life, that is one of the way. Yeah.
The reason I ask this is because lifestyle modification, that is a must when I have family members who have diabetes as well, pre-diabetes, but also when they take pills, they experience the side effects of nausea, and also they don't have the appetite to eat. And so what's the best way to treat this? So he tries to not take in pills, but finds that is not enough, right? So he has to do this, but also he tries to experiment on this side as well, the lifestyle modification. He tries to eat as not as much as possible, basically, right? And try to limit the blood sugar intake. Sugar intake,
yeah.
So that's why I asked. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's why it also depends on the type of medication that client is taking, like everyone is taking, because some just take one, some they already, when they consult dietitian or when they want to make changes, they're already taking a few medication, for example. Yeah.
Okay. What about fatty food? Can they eat fatty foods? No.
Fatty foods or fruits?
Foods, yeah.
For
diabetic patients. Because it's all about sugar and glucose only, right? Or is fat involved here?
Yeah, fat's definitely involved in this case. But first thing first, we'll control in terms of the amount of carbohydrate, the sugar, and also the starch, the carbohydrate. The second one, we also take care of the fats as well. Because if you are taking high fat foods, right, then that can actually potentially impact in terms of your blood sugar. But that will be a secondary factor that we are looking at. First one, make sure you get things right in terms of your rice, in terms of your carbohydrate, right? Then secondly, we'll look into the fats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fats as well. Okay. So this translates that fats can bring up the sugar level in our blood?
They will actually maintain the sugar level at high for a longer time. They won't bring up.
Okay.
The culprit that brings up the sugar level is actually mainly comes from the sugar. But fats actually somehow delay a bit in terms of the digestion. Yes.
Okay, now I get it. Okay, got it. So it's okay to take protein, it's just the carbs and fatty acids, fats basically.
Yeah. Protein won't bring up your blood sugar. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, it's something that most people don't look into, And I just recently did a study, it's just a simple Google. There's 3.4 millions of people in Malaysia who have diabetes.
Yeah.
So it's not even pre-diabetic.
It's diabetic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't even talk about obesity, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those are related as well, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
It's all about food, I would say. In terms of our food culture and everything. Education, knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very eye-opening in this conversation. Thank you, actually. Yeah. So, Shen Yi, Ameerul, what would you say is a all-round meal that someone can take? Let's say for people who work a 9-to-5 job like me. Yeah, audience who are listening to this one, they're probably on their way to work. They're thinking of the next meal. They're thinking what they should eat with their colleagues later at lunch. What would you say to these people? What would you say if there's one thing that they need to change or that they should focus on, what is that one thing in the next meal?
Okay, all right. This is very personal opinion.
Yeah.
To me, find a food that you feel satisfied to eat, but don't forget the BMV. That's it. Yeah, like as long as it's balanced. I'll explain a little bit more so that people understand the concept. Like balance, which means that they have the macronutrients and also the micronutrients.
Right.
The carbs, the protein, the fat, the fiber, like the vegetable and fruits also have their own vitamins and minerals. So that's why it's balanced. And then it's moderation. So you can take rice, you can take like maybe chicken chop, or you maybe can take, whatever chap fan or char siu, for example, right?
Yeah.
But how's the moderation? How's the portion that you take, right? And variety. So are you gonna eat sandwich every day? So you might not get certain vitamins or minerals from just one type of fruits or vegetables, right? So that's why you need to make it variety. You don't want to just like take rice, for example. There are maybe some days that you want to take noodles, for example, so that you get different nutrients. Example, you take noodles. There are some noodles that it's not just grains, but they also mix with egg. So you can at least get an extra protein from that. So that's when variety comes in. So to me, the BMV, you can still enjoy your food, know your goal, and don't be too afraid of that, because honestly, as a dietitian doing the personal coaching, it's easy to teach people how to lose weight. Okay. But it's so damn hard to improve their relationship with food after that. Like really hard, because people tend to be so afraid of like eating this. Can I eat this? Can I eat durian? Like how much should I eat this? Can I eat these snacks or no? And stuff like that. Because why? They have been like too occupied about, no, you cannot eat this, you cannot eat that. Yeah. Rather, you know the right portion, BMV, go ahead, man.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah. So I think if let's say I'm sharing some insights for people who are working, for your next lunch or your dinner later, try to make sure in terms of what you have on your plate, in terms of carbohydrate, protein, and also vegetables, it is actually at the same portion. Okay, that means maybe if you divide the plate into three, there will be one portion of your carbohydrates, your rice, your noodles or anything, or maybe kway teow spaghetti, and one portion of like chicken, eggs, or like or meats. Another portion should be vegetables. Yeah, that will be the first baby step for a working adult who are very busy. You have only 1 hour of break. You want to grab something, right? It can be in wrap, it can be in sandwich, it can be in any form. Just try to make sure the portion is like 30%, 30%, 30%. Yeah.
Practical.
Yeah. That's solid advice from both of you, from both dietitians actually. Right. Yeah. Ameerul, Shen Yi, really, I appreciate your time here today. I've learned a lot about, like my diet, on like what people should do, like to keep the healthy lifestyle, Of course, it depends on what healthy means to you, but also your goals of keeping fit, and then also for diabetic patients, pre-diabetic patients, what they should eat and what they should not eat. It's a long story, obviously, but I want to look more into it in the future because it's something that most people do not look into, do not focus on these days. I've seen like colleagues who down like a can of Coke at the end of every day. It's just that simple for him. I don't know how, and I don't know how he's not diabetic yet. And it's just crazy, to see when I'm following the opposite, when I'm really like watching my diet. And it's 2024, and I think people should really look into
what they eat.
And it's so much processed food, and I don't know, it's crazy out there.
It's crazy and it's scary.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Any last things to add on?
I think I just wanted to emphasize our existence. As I mentioned earlier before, it's very underrated profession, being a dietitian. Whenever, this is a sad story, honestly, like whenever people ask me what I studied, I said dietetics, there will always be like a second ask, it's like, what? Dietetic, what's that? People always do that. And it can be pretty offensive sometimes, because you studied hard and then you try to get that degree, and because people do not know you, right? And I think that this is one of the ways and one of the very, very big why and reasons we co-founded this myfindiet. Because we want to really show to people that they are young people like us, like can actually spearhead this whole dietetic thingy to make people not feel afraid of like talking to dietitians, you know. And you can, we talk about, you know, like intermittent fasting, and we personally, you know, will suggest to our client if that's one of the way for them to lose weight. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to like emphasize on it, like how we want this profession to be visible.
True. Yeah, and of course, like with younger audience, they tend to listen compared to older audience when they think like what they're doing is right all the time, and they stop listening. That's a key part of like keeping a healthy lifestyle. And yeah, and I commend what you guys are doing, because you guys are, I think, the main player in the industry, like having a podcast, right? It's for a good cause. Like, why not support this thing? So, like, props to you guys, really.
Thank you so much as well to you for trying to make us more visible, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shen Yi. Thank you, Ameerul.
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you so
you
much.
guys.
All right.